This will be your third time running for federal politics now. You've been in place since about 2019, and some interesting things that have happened over the years. But tell me about this election. Do you feel a little more confident this time around? Do you feel like, you're kind of used to this at this point?
Well, I'm certainly used to campaigning, but I think that this is a consequential election campaign. I think not just for Parry Sound-Muskoka, but it's a consequential campaign for the whole country. We have an election that we're facing now where we've been talking about the cost of living crisis, we've been talking about the housing crisis, we've been talking about crime in the streets of the larger centers, we've been talking about, all the challenges Canadians face and the cost of living, and 9 years of Liberal policy that has made things worse. And so on top of that now, of course, we're also talking about the President of the United States and his sort of on-again, off-again tariff threats and the uncertainty and anxiety that's creating. We need to deliver for Canadians, not just here at home, but also defend Canada on the world stage. We need somebody that knows how to do that. We need somebody that is a strong leader, and I believe that's Pierre Poilievre. I think that the Liberals have elected a new leader. He was Justin Trudeau's economic advisor for the last 5 years, and now what you have is the guy who was advising the guy who didn't really know what he was doing on the economy, saying that everything's going to be okay. And we've changed out the puppet for the puppet master, and I don't think that's going to be the results that Canadians need.
Let's first of all talk about the party's platform, Poilievre's platform. Where does that stand right now for Canadians? What are the highlights from that platform that you see as a benefit?
Well, listen, I talk about housing a lot because I'm the shadow minister and the critic for housing. And I talk a lot all across the country about the cost and the process and the difficulty it takes to get permission to build a house in this country. And that's really what's wrong with our country right now. There's too much government intervention, too much taxes, too many fees and regulations. It's just too difficult to get things done in Canada. And so we need to reduce the burden of government at all levels. We need to ignite the economy of this country, need to ignite the entrepreneurial spirit of Canadians and get things moving again. And as frustrating as Donald Trump is and as scary as that is, it's a wake-up call for Canada. The fact that there are interprovincial trade barriers, it's still easier to sell goods to the United States than it is for Ontario to sell goods in BC. And that's wrong. We need to fix those kinds of problems, and I think it's a wake-up call for Canadians to come together, build our own country, stop demonizing the resource industries that really make us one of the richest countries in the world, and make sure that we're developing these industries responsibly, opening up new markets for Canadian energy, clean Canadian energy, and let's get this country moving again.
Now, let's talk about your personal platform. Obviously, a lot of these things align with what you're looking to do, but for someone who's representing Parry Sound-Muskoka moving forward, what's your platform? What are your major, issues that you want to focus on?
Yeah, we're very much in line with the national campaign. I'm a conservative. I believe in smaller government. I believe in delivering effective, quality services for the best price possible. And I think Canadians deserve that. I also believe very strongly in standing up for the least fortunate in our society and those most vulnerable. It's been a difficult time for a lot of folks, not just because of the cost of living, but I think social media has made life difficult for a lot more people. We have a mental health crisis in this country, and we need to take care of our neighbor. We need to look out for each other. I believe that's what Parry Sound-Muskoka is really all about, and I'm honored to be the member of Parliament for the area and to continue to advocate that we take care of each other. That's an important part of this role, and it's one I want to continue.
Finally, why should people vote for Scott Aitchison for a third term?
Because I'll always have your back. I've been in public life a long time. I started in municipal politics here in Huntsville, and my track record is pretty clear. I believe in supporting and helping people. I believe in delivering great quality service. I believe in making sure that everyone has the opportunity to thrive and not just survive. And that's the kind of thing that we need here locally, but we also need nationally. And I will be that voice in Ottawa. I have been for the last 4.5, 5 years, and I want to continue to do that for people.
Jordy, you're running for the Liberal Party here in Parry Sound-Muskoka. So let's start out with what motivated you to become a candidate for the Liberal Party of Canada.
I think first and foremost, I was motivated by my son. He and I were talking politics. He's 11 and wanting to understand how the system worked. And he asked, how does one become a candidate? And that's where I started looking into it. And then the Liberal Party called and asked if I could put my nomination in, and because they don't have a local candidate here. They haven't had one for a while, and I thought about it, and I thought this is too important an election to not make sure Muskoka Parry Sound has representation on all sides.
So let's talk about the Liberal Party of Canada first, and then we'll dive into your specific interests. But I want to talk about the platform that the party has run. We have a new leader in place now, which has really kind of motivated a lot of change in that party. Tell me about what you are specifically interested in when it comes to that platform right now.
Well, for me, it was I want the smartest leader in the room to be ours. So I know Mark Carney from my days when I worked overseas. I know of his work. I grew up when he was under Stephen Harper in the Bank of Canada. So for me, he was a massive sort of, an exciting person that I thought that is the right person for the right time, for the right job right now. And we'll talk about where I come from, but I'm very familiar with international economics and trade. And I feel that Mark Carney is the person that we need right now to do the job.
Okay. Well, let's dive a little bit into your background. What does that look like?
Well, so I come from a family of entrepreneurs who are in construction. I got my master's in international business and management in London, England. My first job was for the BBC, of all places. And then when I came back home, I started at the bottom of a media company that produced Program for Discovery. And I rose to be vice president, took the company from 5 to 60 people, and we produced hundreds of hours of television for Discovery. And then my entrepreneur roots kicked in and I wanted to go on my own. So I started my own production company, and I write and produce and direct film and television. And then because of my background, my international background, my economic background, I was also hired by a communications company that works with a lot of CEOs here in Canada and abroad to help develop international strategy and vision. So I've worked with the CEOs of BMO and Royal Bank and Magna, and so I continue to do that as well as get my creative side on with film and television. And those movies have gone all over the world and taken me all over the world. But I'm proud to call Muskoka my home.
Let's talk about your platform specifically as a representative for Parry Sound-Muskoka. What does that look like? What do you want to focus in on?
I think that's, as we all are, coming into focus. For me, what I'm doing right now is just doing a lot of listening. I've come quickly to realize there are a lot of brilliant people in Parry Sound-Muskoka, and I'm gathering sort of I like to call industry leadership entrepreneur think tank. It's a bit long, but I'm working on the title. We have people who are just coming to talk to me and share their knowledge about the issues in this region and how they connect to those in Ottawa and abroad. So really right now I'm just gathering a team, like Lincoln did, called it the team of rivals if you want to know, and just a bunch of very bright people to help me ensure that our platform is reflective of the needs of here in Parry Sound-Muskoka. And we've of course got the obvious, the economics, housing, social programs, Canada, our sovereignty now. I mean, we Parry Sound, like that is technically a border town, so I think that's a huge issue for people in this region as well. So I'm just right now making sure I'm laser focused on the needs of our community.
Finally, tell me, why should people of the Parry Sound-Muskoka region vote for you?
Tough question. I think ultimately for me, I think I have the experience both as a person who's very dependent on the U.S. market right now. So my business is being very affected right now, as I'm sure so many people in this region are. I have the international experience and the background. This is really a lot about free trade and economics, and I think I have the experience and know-how to bring something to the table. I also feel that Mark Carney, I think people have to really reflect a lot on the needs of not only Parry Sound-Muskoka, but of this country. And I think for a lot of people in this region, it's going to be having to make the right choice, not the easy one. And I'm just here to also recognize that I represent everybody in this region. And I think it's all of us need to succeed in this time for us to kind of grow and celebrate who we are. I mean, we're in the best parts of Canada, so I want Mark to know that. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure our needs are met in Ottawa.
You are running once again as a candidate federally for the NDP Party of Canada. First of all, tell me about your decision to be a candidate once again in Parry Sound-Muskoka.
I felt like I just learned how to play the game in the last election, and I'm really excited this year to speak up and be the voice for the working people in Muskoka and Parry Sound.
Let's talk first of all about your party's platform, and then we'll talk about yours. Where does that stand right now in terms of what Canadians are looking for, and how do you feel that fits into the Parry Sound-Muskoka riding?
Canadians are looking for a party that's going to stand up for the average person against the oligarchs. We've got two parties that are funded and are supporting the oligarch class, and NDP is the only one representing average Canadians.
All right. Let's talk about your platform specifically. What are you looking at in terms of being the candidate for Parry Sound-Muskoka that you feel will benefit, again, the people of Parry Sound-Muskoka?
Bringing the voice of ordinary Canadians into the conversation. That it's not just about money and what the oligarchs want, the rich 1%. We've seen the poverty hitting Muskoka, the lack of housing. There's so many different issues that aren't being addressed locally.
Tell me about you as a candidate. What makes you a candidate for Parry Sound-Muskoka, and especially for the NDP? What's your background like?
My background, I'm a teacher. I just finishing my master's in the last couple of weeks. Not really a convenient time for an election, I got to tell you, but I think I've got the interest and the compassion and the ability to not just fight for what you need, but to listen and bring the people together so that we can collectively come together and fight against what's happening at national and international levels.
If you could identify, I guess, the single biggest issue that you want to tackle as a representative for Parry Sound-Muskoka, what would you say it is when you're heading to Parliament Hill?
Poverty. We need guaranteed annual income. We need. We've got older women who are being evicted and ending up homeless and ending up in shelters because there's just nowhere to live, or they have to leave their community. So finding ways to support our seniors, the people who experience poverty and disabilities in our community, the voices that aren't being heard, as well as the workers and the union people who are losing their jobs.
And finally, if you could tell people why should they vote for Heather Hay and Parry Sound-Muskoka?
Because I care. I care about you, I care about our community, and I believe that I'm the person who can best represent the people of Muskoka Parry Sound to a new and better, abundant future.
Hello, my name is Isabel Pereira. I am the People's Party of Canada's candidate for Parry Sound-Muskoka. I am a proud Canadian, a wife, mother, grandmother, sister, neighbor, friend. Several years ago, I realized that the political party that I had supported for decades was not truly aligned with my principles and values. That led me to review all political party platforms to determine which one best aligned with my principles and values. After careful consideration, that party was the People's Party of Canada. If you are also concerned about what's happening to our country, I invite you to review all political party platforms to determine which party aligns with your principles and values. If that party is the People's Party of Canada, please join us. There's a quote that inspires me that I'd like to share with you. This quote was written in 1960 by the Right Honorable John G. Diefenbaker. This quote is printed on the Canadian Bill of Rights, and it reads, "I am a Canadian, a free Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship God in my own way, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, free to choose who shall govern my country. This heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and all mankind. The time is now. Please join me. Vote PPC, strong and free." Thank you.